Hey everybody, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? I have my co-host over here. I have my second co-host on my feet, keeping me warm. How are you? A lot of energy is going on. Today, I'm going to read to you Melchizedek, because I really enjoyed this book. And things are happening, so we need to be prepared. Divine science and its branches with technique or practical demonstrable methods. Your need supplied. Course 1, divine silence of healing. Healing? Before I even begin, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because getting this message out is extremely important. So, I don't know how I got a lot of new subscribers, and before I read this, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing and incredible, I do want to express a few things. At the age of 22, right after my adoptive father passed away, I was crippled. I was diagnosed a little later on with rheumatoid arthritis. I also have thyroid problems. I have an enlarged big neck. And I tried the homeopathic stuff. I had to do biologics for a few years, and then I lost a lot of my hair. I was projectile vomiting. I was just not doing too good. Although a lot of the medicine did work and helped for little bits and spans of time, which gave me relief, I was in extraordinary pain for a very long time. And it was until I decided to take myself off all that medication that I was only taking painkillers. And as of the last, I would say 6 months, I barely have to eat a painkiller or take anything for my pain. And yes, there are moments where I'm on, you see me squirming, and I don't know if the microphone picked up my neck cracking and my bones cracking like a Rice Krispie treat, but I'm raising my vibes. I'm taking my organic drops that I show a lot of. They're different types. They're helping. This is the one I take for allergies, but I have ones for pain. I have ones for inflammation. I have ones for the heart. I have ones for indigestion and detox and just overall vitality. Each of them have different beautiful organic substances, veggies, roots, herbs that help. And I really don't have to eat anything out of a bottle anymore. So we do have the ability to heal. There are binaural healing beats. It's all within you and your diet. And mine is not good right now. My diet is absolutely shit. No joke. I have to eat what I am given so that I can maintain and survive, because I'm in survival mode right now. I don't like to be in survival mode, but I've been having a choice of starving or eating what I can get. So, and the things that I have to eat have to last me for, I can't grow anything in my house right now. So growing lettuce and growing spinach and veggies, not happening. So I have to get stuff that lasts. Just that help. Anywho, I just wanted to put that out there. Raise your vibes. If I could do it, anybody could do it. My pain tolerance is extremely high. Others can't tolerate the pain that I'm in, and I'm in pain all the time. All the time. But not to where I used to be. I wasn't able to pick up a pen. I wasn't able to pick a buck up or a bottle of water. I wasn't able to walk. I was on a walker. And this is 22 years old, right after I graduated college. So another shiv in the life experience that I needed to go through. But don't give up hope. We're going to read this beautiful course, and I hope we get something out of it. But just know it is obtainable to do. Jesus is not on earth now to tell the sick, worried, hopeless, miserable how to be well, happy, and strong. His teaching, however, is here, and if you are gifted with divine inspiration and practical divine knowledge in the science of healing, which he taught to reveal the secret of the doctrine to others, it can be learned. The patient can put its techniques into practice and resurrect himself by his own divine will, power of life. Quote, those that are who need no physician, end quote. True, but those that are sick need a metaphysician. Method of technique. So-called miracles of healing, what thousands of years are possible today. Dr. Grumbine presents the science in a simple, lucid, luminous, practical way within the reach of all. Truth is like a key. It opens all doors of possibility if you possess the key. Dr. Grumbine presents you the key. Have you studied his course? Your education is not complete without it. This is admitted by all who know. For the benefit of the new thoughter, who is Dr. Grumbine. He was a pioneer, new thoughter, before there were any national or local centers. He is a metaphysician, a teacher of divine science, the new psychology and Christian mysticism, and has been before the public since 1888. With nearly 30 years on the New Thought platform. Among his students who afterwards became teachers and practitioners are Kate Atchison, Boheme, author Dr. Julia Seton, Lucy C. McGee, Boston, Mrs. Mary C. Chapin, New York City, and many others. The press is unanimous in his praise. Okay, I hope my eyesight doesn't blur. Read these statements. Quote, the Fellowship Messenger, end quote, Omaha, Nebraska, writes, for a year and a half, I have promoted a great many metaphysical lectures, but there has been nothing equal to soundness and Catholicity of its teaching to that Dr. Grumbine is promulgating. Kate Atchison Boheme, New Thought author and healer, wrote, such richness of thought, diversity of expression, and originality of conception are rarely combined in one individual. The Harbinger of Light, Melbourne, Australia, wrote, as a teacher, it is questionable if his superior, for this past 30 years at least, has been on the platform. Lillian Whitting, author, The World Beautiful, wrote, your work is marvelous, epoch-making. The Course by Mail. A course of 12 lessons with technique is offered the earnest, sincere student who seeks for freedom or longs to be a practitioner and to demonstrate. There can be no better, no luminous course by anyone. Each lesson is brief, concise, and revelation. No superfluous language to camouflage the truth. The light shines with clear beauty through each word and thought. The cost but $10 for this special course. That was a lot of money back then. Dr. Grumbine prepares students for the New Thought and Divine Science platform. Such students should study his complete system to finish their New Thought or Divine Science education. Eventually, you will take his system. Why not now? Special courses on Course 2, Sixth Sense, Clairsentient, 12 lessons. Course 3, Inspiration, 12 lessons. Course 4, Illumination, 10 lessons. Each may be taken separately. Fee for each course, $10. Oh my goodness. And they give his address too. It's in Cleveland, Ohio. So like in the middle of this book is like advertisement. That's genius. Why aren't people doing this now? Like in the middle of the book, not at the end. The System of Philosophy Concerning Divinity, Male Course, Correspondence School established 1894 by J.C.F Grumbine, B.D., Fellow of the Society of Science, Letters and Arts, London, England, noted author, world traveler, and member of the National Geographical Society, a teacher of divine science, the spiritual philosophy, including theology and new psychology. It is known to all the world that the divine science affirming the reality of spirit and divinity of the soul is true, admitted to be so far by the most eminent scientists, Sir Oliver Lodge, Camille Flammarion, Sir William Crookes, the late Dr. Frederick Meyer, Signor Lombroso, Dr. Hodgins, and Professor James, and numerous other leaders in chemistry, psychology, physics, literature, and the church. Our duty now is to express our supernormal powers in a sane, conscious, scientific manner and to realize our divinity. Our supernormal or psychical powers can be arranged into two distinct classes. By powers, we mean our ability or capacity to express our divinity, hold communion with the spiritual world, function on the supernormal planes, to heal, to telepath, to learn one's vocation in life, as to successful, prosperous, and well to obtain intromission to celestial knowledge and revelations, to exercise all the divine powers which hitherto have been regarded as impossible and supernatural. Dr. Grumbine specializes on supernormal psychology. He cannot emphasize too strongly the fact that all possess supernormal powers and should express them. It is divine to do so and to help to the higher life. That's awesome. That makes me feel better about myself. Super normal, I love that word, powers are natural. We are conscious, free, independent when we become supernormal. The supernormal powers are spiritual, seeing, hearing, feeling, seership, prevision, psychometry, intuition, realization, illumination, healing, ecstasy, telepathy, divine inspiration, projection of the double, functioning on the astral plane consciously. These we all can express, some to a greater degree than others because they will spend more time and more earnest in their efforts. What is claimed can be done for all is being done for each student by Grumbine's system, and your testimony will add when you study the profound but simple system which he teaches. Take theosophy. Dr. Grumbine affords the initiate or inner circle a very stoic and practical teaching. There is nothing sectarian about the teaching. Your freedom is never curtailed. He has received word from those who has taken the work that the system taught by mail through the College of Divine Science and Realization, the correspondence school, is superior in many ways to other Stoic teaching. The language is less stuffed with Orientalisms, while his method are scientific, adapted to the simplest minds. One physician, a student who took the system years ago, wrote that it is the system of per excellence. His teachings are pure divine science, presented in a way to appeal to the most enlightened, as well as uninformed. He is positively opposed to fortune telling and commercialism in New Thought. In his system, the way is shown to the highest service practically and spiritually. To commune or communicate consciously with our invisible, divine helpers, even the Holy Spirit, is possible for each one, and it is far and away the best method and brings the most reliable, beneficent, and happiest results. And mark the condition, one cannot expect to succeed in becoming an adept unless he lives the spiritual life. See, J.C.F Grumbine is an expert in these branches of divine science and new psychology and is famed the world over as a superior consciousness and reliable teacher. The knowledge he gives is revelation in itself. He has been before the public since 1893. Divine Science versus Christian Science. Divine science, as taught by the system, is the foundation of Christian science and is a science older than the Bible, and is not glorifying or dependent upon the personality of a man or a woman. Without divine science, there could be no Christian science. The system of philosophy concerning divinity reveals the technique of divine healing, for which we are informed by Christian scientists themselves. Christian Science charges $100 in a language so clear and simple, and demonstrations so practical and irreversible that any intelligent person can grasp them. I really got to get this guy's book. The Order of the White Rose, a school with a destiny, an order which is Rosicrucian, founded in 1894. The series of System by Mail. This is like the best pitching shit ever. I'm getting more of a laugh out of this than anything else. I hope you guys are laughing with me. This is pure genius. If you're gonna write a book, you get some juicy stuff in the beginning, and then you hawk other people's books. You know, I mean, nothing's for free, I guess. You're gonna have to buy or figure out where this PDF is, find out the secret resources. The 5 series of revealed teachings comprehending the system applied to human needs, because man is essentially divine. If spiritual unfoldment or divine realization is not possible under the direction of this system, then there is little hope for the human race. Preparation to perceive and receive the truth is from within. By psychological process and psychological formulae, evidence and demonstrations are accomplished. Each one who seeks expression of supernormal powers and the realization of one's divinity can have it, because each one is divine. Mysticism and Rosicrucianism. The Hermetic law, Theosophy, biblical mysteries, the Vendetta philosophy, and Rosicrucianism. I know, guys, I'm not pronouncing that properly. Rosicrucianism are fully explained in the system. Psychism. Your hidden psychical powers are made manifest sanely by the system if rules are applied. Obsessions, control, trances, unconsciousness are discountenanced. The system affirms personal sovereignty, self-mastery, consciousness, freedom in the highest sense. Normal course. A normal course follows the system. This course furnishes the key to the hidden wisdom of the Bible, also to all symbols, myths, allegories, numbers, and the Kabbalah and occult psychology. Words of praise. Quote, Dr. Grumbine drew from all who had the pleasure of hearing him nothing but admiration and praises. As teacher and lecturer, he is per excellence, scholarly, philosophic, profound, eloquent, inspirational, yet withal lucid and easy to follow. Both on the platform and in class work, he is one of the most impressive teachers yet to come before the Omaha New Thought Fellowship. From the 1st to the 12th of January, a course of New Thought lectures were given in the fellowship audience room by Dr. J.C.F Grumbine of Boston. As an instructor of the New Thought, Dr. Grumbine is very patient, there being nothing cheap or frivolous in his methods. He has a message for the world, and he feels it is his duty, provided is the appropriate word to use, to proclaim in all sincerity. His ideals are of the spiritual type. His philosophy is cosmic in cast and impersonal in spirit. As a New Thoughtist, he gives the student the advantage of all good things to be found in every branch of learning. As a student and teacher of the new psychology, he unfolds the mystery of being on the 3 planes of matter, mind, and spirit in such terms and with such wealth of thought and research as to make his lectures veritable treasures of physical, occult, and spiritual knowledge. He has sounded the depths and ascended the heights in the kingdom where the streets of life may be found, and beheld therein glories of the seen and unseen world. So found the place where the Illuminati, whose wisdom is of inestimable value to less unfolded souls, in their search for truth, the divine light of knowledge, and the laws of self-unfoldment. In the coming to Omaha, Dr. Grumbine made many friends and awakened some minds to a deeper and sweeter perception of the spiritual worth of each life, and lifted the veil for some eyes to behold the divine radiance of the soul immortal. The Fellowship Messenger. This interesting personal item from Mr. John H. Davis of Columbus, Ohio, will be inspiring to new students. Quote, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the immense amount of benefit that I have received from personal contact with you and hearing your instructive lectures, which have aided me wonderfully in spiritual unfoldment. which in turn has given me a broader outlook on life and a more complete understanding of my true relationship to God and man, more wisdom and much happier life. Mr. Grumbine often travels on lecture engagements. Indulge delays. Your letter will receive attention as soon as it reaches him. The system of philosophy concerning divinity. Terms. What are you doing to express or realize your divinity? That's a good question. You are one of a large class who do not realize that you can develop supernormal powers and become master of your circumstances of your life. You can. We all possess supernormal faculties and should express them. We are better off if we do. But where will this class go or turn for help? I add to this system first because it is the only system of its kind that can help you, and secondly because the system of a male course with 56 lessons covers all the conditions and rules governing law, expression, and supernormalism. The lack in the most Christian New Thoughtists, divine scientists, is a knowledge of supernormal psychology and mystic science of the Bible, which eliminates such words as supernaturalism, miracle, and magic for their vocabulary and enables them, by Dr. Grumbine's system, to positively know and demonstrate. The high school and university graduate, the character analysis, the psychotherapist, the mother or father who plans big things for their boys and girls, who, without a knowledge of their vocation, adaptation in business or life, as well as the more spiritually minded, can find in the system the illumination they need to fit them for their work. I was very curious, so I paused and I was trying to find the courses. There are some in book form. You can find them on Amazon. Clairvoyance happens to be a big one, telepathy, like insight and that stuff, but like not everything that's here. So I find that very interesting that these still exist, these teachings. So this is J.C.F Grumbine's books. The Order of the White Rose publication. I'm going to skip a little bit of this introduction. The New Psychology, Melchizedek, or the Secret Doctrine of the Bible. Never before have the mysteries been made so clear. A wonderful elevation. $1.50. New Thought for Children. The don'ts, can'ts, and mustn'ts connected by affirming teaching. $1. Psychometry, or the Sixth Sense. The Science of Kinesthesia, 4th edition, is a sample but profound exposition of the most fascinating subject put before the reader in the language which is both clear and dignified, and which opens the eyes to the inner spheres of the soul and the law for the expression of this soul power called sensitiveness or soul measurement. Anyone with this book can unfold the psychometry power. 50 cents. Auras and Colors. This was on the site on Amazon. 4th edition is a very instructive book, and in as much as it is now the 8,000 provides its value as an original contribution on this very occult subject. How to see the aura, how to know the significance of the colors one vibrates, how to place them, how to catalog all colors correctly, what colors to wear, healing power of color, or here briefly and concisely explained. 75 cents. So I've tried to see auras, and sometimes I can. It depends on the person and their energy. Sometimes I can see auras. If anybody's ever looked at those magic artwork books, hang on, I'm gonna show. Sorry, I had to grab this Magic Eye. If you cross your eyes and look beyond the person, and you continuously do that, and you, with your intent, look at a person to see their energy, you can pick up their colors and the rays of color that they emit. It's not easy. It takes a lot of practice. Actually, 2 years ago, when I went to the medium to talk about my spirit guides and my awakening to things that I sort of knew, but I was just getting more downloads, and spirit was like, wake up, bitch. He told me to look at magic eyes, because when you do, you're working both sides of your brain in order to see the image. And there are a few that I can see, and there's others like I've never had that. And I also have a lazy eye, which is really highly annoying for me. But I have 2 magic eye books that I try. Very, very difficult for me to see. Some others I can see right away. But that's a really good practice for those of you who are interested in learning or strengthening your eyes, but also strengthening your brain and having it work together. Also, I was given instruction to start. I'm ambidextrous, but I'm right dominant. So I can write with my left hand, but my handwriting is much clearer on my right side, but I can write with my left. So the medium was telling me to write affirmations out with my left hand, which looks like squiggles and wiggles until like I get my strength. But these are things, I know I'm going off topic from the book, but I think hawking his other books in his book gives me freedom to give you guys some insight to things that might help you if you're interested in this topic. Obviously, you're listening to this and you're as enthused as I am, so hell yeah. Try coloring in an adult coloring book with your opposite hand. So if you're a dominant righty, you would try it with your left hand. If you're a dominant lefty, try with your right hand. And ambidextrous or not, you're awakening your nerve to perceive from both lobes. And the same with your magic eye, the same with looking at someone's aura. Some people have the natural ability to look at somebody and see auras. A lot of people don't. So that's something I can pick up on if I'm energetically attached to somebody, or I am sitting there for some time, seeing their energy, being in them, in front of them, and looking past them and blurring my eyesight, and then it comes. But it's not everybody, and it's not all the time. But it is something to look into if you're interested in that. I find it really fun. You know, trying new things is a really good learning experience. It doesn't harm you. It's fun. It's frustrating when you try and I'm an artist. It's really frustrating to color in the lines with a hand that is not used to coloring in the lines with. But it's worth it. And those adult coloring books are really cheap. and they're tiny, like the mandalas. Definitely something to try if you have extra time, you're frustrated and sad. It's something to think about doing and getting used to using both sides of your brain. Because most people who are dominant in one way aren't, and then something happens and then they have to relearn how to write and do all this stuff. It takes time. So why don't you give yourself that favor and do it? It's good practice. Okay, off on my other tangents. Telepathy, 4th edition, a new book which provides the origin of thought, how God inspires us, how we telepath thoughts to each other. It explains the telepathic code or how to transfer thoughts. It shows the divinity explains telepathy and not telepathy divinity. $1.50. The Psychology of Color, a wonderfully fascinating study now made most popular by scientific discoveries. He is going based off the chakra system. I have to also look at Arthur Schopenhauer. He goes intensely into colors and music and stuff, and I might do a whole section on that portion of his as the will as representation. Because it's really interesting how these people back in the 1800s were overwhelmingly understanding of these concepts that we are still trying to untap today. And they had a better mode and practice. I mean, I can't tell you how many books I have about mediumship and clairvoyance and empathic abilities and healing the ancestry and channeling. And I mean, I have like a whole section in my library, and different methods help different people. So, you know, not one method's going to help you. If you read a plethora of different meditations and different ways that people do things, you know, what I do might not work for you, but it doesn't hurt to know, because maybe someone else might need it. This is how we're going to share information and learn and teach each other, because there are plenty of things that I don't know about that other people do, that they share it with me, and I'm more better for it. Standard books on occult and divine science, clairvoyance, or the spiritual perception. 5th edition. Since the publication of Emanuel Swedenborg's books, no more helpful, valuable work has appeared than the one entitled Clairvoyance, its nature and laws of unfoldment. It is a revelation concerning the divinity of perception and seeing, how to unfold the spiritual vision, to pierce the veil of sense, enter at will into the spiritual world, and become a seer and adept in the branch of mystical science. I really want this book, actually. This is the first book ever published on the subject. It's $1.50. Your work is marvelous, epoch-making, Lillian Willing. The lessons which constitute the volume are of great use to all who desire to familiarize themselves with both the clearest scientific view of clairvoyance, yet presented to the reading public, and the most... Sorry, guys, this is like the tiniest print, and I am blurry vision. Efficacious means of developing the faculty in themselves by means of simple and very practical experiments, which many of Mr. Grumbine's students in various places have found highly beneficial in many ways. All sincere students of the psychic realm will do well to read and study this excellent volume. W.J. Colville, noted author. Clairaudience, the only scientific textbook of its kind that teaches students how to express their own supernormal power of concentration and hearing, and so to realize spiritual communion, solve the problems of the voice of the voices. That's so interesting. Easy Lessons in Occult Science, 4th edition, is a neat book containing much very helpful knowledge not found elsewhere on how to proceed to unfold the independent cycle powers without going into a trance or becoming obsessed. Here's Miss Co-host. Hang on, guys. It is a textbook for beginners who contemplate the making the most of themselves, both in human and divine sense, who realize that failure in the world is mostly due not to knowing how to lay hold of one's powers, which lie dormant within us. 50 cents. The Great Secret and Other Occult Tales is a series of short stories on occult science. The spirit world, what and where it is. This is the most valuable contribution to the wonderful great subject. Every line in the book is scientific and dependable. It is just the work for those who are bereaved. Each topic handled exhaustively. Subjects treated in concise and unconceiving manner are death, life, the location, and geography of the spirit world. Geography, sorry guys. Destiny, messages from the spirit world, and conditions and means of spiritual communications. 50 cents. To agents who sell New Thought and occult literature, 25% is allowed on 5 or more listed copies posted. Prepaid to any address, no books sent out on approval or commission. All orders must be accommodated with cash. Can't even do that these days. Excuse you, Missy. Hi. I think her brother took her spot. And this is why she's moping up here. What is New Thought and who is the New Thoughter? What is New Thought? It teaches that God is spirit within each one, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, expressed all in consciousness and life as unchanging law in both the nature and natural world. Our own divinity should be sovereign. Something must be delicious on my hand. It teaches that pure and universal religion is impersonal and is the science of truth, God demonstratable through one's own divinity. It teaches that all Bibles contain revelations of truth, but are not infallible as historical or doctrinal books. It teaches that the Christ spirit, wherever expressed, is the highest, purest, most perfect realization and metaphysical concept of the working principle of divine love and life in mankind. It teaches that disease, failure, poverty are not the result of God's wrath and punishment, but of man's ignorance and the limitations placed on his human and divine potentialities and prerogatives, and it affirms that when mankind lives the Christ life on earth, the golden rule for service, and thinks and acts righteously, poverty, disease, and failure will pass away. This reference to economic, political, and spiritual conditions. I have a problem with that, because our free will was infringed. And I don't think the author knew about the infringement that happened to us. The fact of the matter is, we are mostly all sick to some extent, having an issue, whether it be one thing or another. That's because we've been poisoned by our food, our air, our water, the things that they spray in the air, everything. So that's not our fault, and you really can't do anything about it besides, say they're spraying chemtrails in the air, and there's fluoride in the water, which fluoride is really bad for you, by the way. It inhibits your pineal gland and calcifies it. And listen, I had fluoride treatments my whole life. My teeth are falling out of my face. So yeah, we can't help that. And like, my parents had no idea that fluoride was bad for you. You're told the lie. So they went along with the lie, and now I'm paying big time for it because I have a lot of teeth issues. When it comes to poverty, some people, like the circumstances now in the world, I am only hitting a poverty because of the state I live in, like New York State. And the fact that the rules apply only to New York and nowhere else, when we have a constitution that rules over everything, we're weeding out the bad. So there are people who sit in the poverty mindset. It's a mindset. I don't, so there's circumstances beyond one's control, and then we all arranged for these circumstances to happen to us. I know mine's certainly arranged, but then I'm like, okay, you won't let me know what to do next. So my logical mind is like, what are we gonna do now? Because 6 months is now ticking away, and bills have to be paid in the 3D dimension so that I can continue to have a communication with people. Otherwise, I'll be a vagabond on the side of a road with 2 kitty cats that don't have a clue what to do in the wild. So yeah, just putting that out there. I don't agree with that so much. There are people that have those mindsets, but that doesn't apply to everybody. It teaches demonstrable immortality and conscious communion of spirit. This is the new thought in a nutshell. Who is the new thoughter? It's an interesting word. A new thoughter is one who accepts the above, lives it in his life, and supports it by his presence and money. Again, greed. There are many groups of so-called new thoughters who place special emphasis on 1, 2, or more of the 6 propositions. Group 1, the first group, is the highest spiritual service and life, who are absolutely living up to the 5 propositions. They subordinate their personal and selfish interests to the good of the common movement and seek to live in the universal spirit. They are trying to unite and fuse all centers into one homogeneous and harmonious body of kindred hearts, whose ideal is set on divine unity, unselfish human fellowship and service. They do not wish to profit by the movement, to pose or speakers, healers, managers, but so to live and prepare themselves for the new thought and divine science ideal and division on earth as to be worthy to be called the chosen to serve whenever the voice of God calls them, and put under their foot their own personal claims or wishes to be a leader or a mouthpiece of God. Such are the true disciples and workers. These have not negated to prepare themselves so far as the demands of the platform field are concerned, with the necessary education to make the ideal and the message they present acceptable. Group 2, under the group 2 must be classified all babes in truth who use any given or established new thought or divine science organization to know the law of freedom and truth, so that they can be of service to mankind. They may be attached or unattached to an Orthodox church, but who, unless wisely guided, are sometimes misled to modify and tincture new thought philosophy with special confusing theories, which they had once entertained and accepted when in the Christian church, and which now are so deeply embedded in the subconscious minds that the word freedom is easily translated into the word bondage, in which their peculiar views, personal opinions, and idiosyncrasies are to what new thought should be predominant. Instead of accepting truth for authority, they unconsciously or consciously accept authority for truth. Unless these babes in truth can be fully enlightened and made to surrender these false and personal theories for the universal divine spirit and God consciousness, they will sooner or later strike the danger reefs of sectarianism and dogmatism, which lurk in the shallow waters of personal views and experiences. Group 3. This group includes the self-lovers and seekers who call themselves new thoughters and yet fail to hold up their hands to be counted or to give their money to support the movement. They perhaps buy a book or two on New Thought, subscribe for a popular New Thought periodical, attend a New Thought meeting when a new teacher or healer enters a city, but never identify themselves or cooperate with any organized center. They are the newspaper New Thoughters who want what they want when they want it. That's funny. Group 4. Then there is the last group, which furnished the spurs, inspirations, and literature of the New Thought and Divine Movement, whose teachers teach freedom of thought in all departments of knowledge and are representative pioneers of the liberalism, which limits no one and yet does not attempt to confirm truth to any one personal ideal, viewpoint, center, Bible interpretation, or experience, but includes in their thought and love all who differ with them. Wow. This group is alive and well in our time right now. Just saying. These teachers see good and affirm the truth in all religions, philosophies, science, and do not narrow the truth to what some, in their ignorance and prejudices, maintain to be all there is of truth, because they think it. That is alive and well in our time right now, friends. Final word. Success comes to those who know and apply the law. Truth will triumph over all adversaries. Each one must learn by dear brought experience the difference between human opinions and divine truth, between human leading and divine guidance. It will take time to educate the ignorant and inexperienced in divine knowledge, but that is the work of the patient, sincere, considerate leaders. So long as we get rid of selfishness, ignorance, envy, self-seeking, self-praise, the advance and prosperity of a movement is assured. But our duty is to be loyal to the spirit of truth, which commands us to sacrifice the personal for the universal and our own selfish interests and opinions for the one divine center of truth and love within each one, where unity and harmony alone can be obtained. That's the end of the book. I didn't think it was going to be that, well, I read a lot. Well, I hope you enjoyed Melchizedek, because I sure did. And a lot of that holds true because it's happening now. But we all really do need to come into awareness that we all have supernormal powers, and that all of us have the capability of fine-tuning what we already have, knowing that each of us have different types of abilities, but if we hone in on them, we can gain more and strengthen what we already have. And a lot of people aren't aware that their gut instinct is an ability. So take what I read. I mean, I find it really funny when you're advertising your other books in a book that you wrote, in the middle, per se, in there. And no one falls into, I mean, again, we have to stop dividing everybody into little subsections of things, because we really are all one, and we're all at different levels and density and sub-octaves of vibration. So we all have to understand there is division, but it shouldn't be seen as something negative. It should be seen as something to work forward and toward. I know that I have been trying to work on telekinesis and telepathy. I don't have anybody to work on that with, but I sure try to communicate with my animals all the time. Morgan gives me the stink eye because she wants to pause something that could hurt her. I try to give her a thought, look in her little grumpy eyes, and try to figure it out, what she wants to feel and thinking. But that's a work in progress, but it's something, right? So what I feel like we are being asked and tasked to do, because this book happened to come out, Spirit wanted me to read it. There was a couple of other books that I wanted to jump into before this one, but I'll do that after. Tomorrow I'll start a new one. We're being asked to look within ourselves, and what is something that you would like to work on? What ability do you think you might have? If you're interested in it, a lot of people aren't, and that's fine. The aura thing isn't that hard to master. It does take a lot of practice. Learning about the chakras, the color rays. I've been covering that a lot in the Law of One recently, about each color, the red ray, the orange, the yellow, the blue, the green, the indigo, violet, and then it goes all the way up the spectrum. And then there's browns. Some people have blacks and grays and different shades of tones. So each of those colors mean a lot of different things. So go check those out. It's really interesting to see that and to learn about it. But what are you interested in doing? Write in the comments. What skill do you have that you want to strengthen? I always say that I am a developmental medium, because in divine timing, my ability will be unblocked. But in the meantime, I'm still learning how to discern my symbols and the feelings that I get, because Sometimes I can hear and sometimes I can't, but everything filters through my brain. So it's a little different. Yeah. So what is it that you want to hone in on? And I mean, it could be nothing more than using your other hand that you're not used to writing with to color in a coloring book, or to write an affirmation out once a day, or looking at the magic eye pictures and seeing what you can pick up. It's not hard stuff. It's pretty fun. It's frustrating sometimes, but you know, these little things can be done in 5 to 10 minutes a day with practice, and it's just helping you out. So let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this really silly but really informative Melchizedek book, Secret Doctrine of the Bible. And we need to be lighthearted. I'm trying to be. Sending each and every one of you love and light. Praying for everybody. Please, people in the states that are going to receive some really bad weather, my prayers are out for you. Please be weather aware. I might go live on my birthday on Saturday. Let me know if you're interested in joining me. I don't know what the hell I'd be doing, but whatever it is, I'll be trying not to do bad things. So I'll figure something out. But anyway, sending my love to all of you. Have a great day, evening, night, brunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever it is that you're doing right now. Please be safe. Bubble up. We're going to get through this together, and we're going to raise the vibes of the planet. Okay, guys. Bye.